Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Oh my God, I love to see the room. Thank you so much, everyone who is on the chat. I'm super excited to be talking to all of you today. And I will give you one thing about me whenever I walk into a room. I am a very energetic person, so you will get out of this room with a lot of energy. I promise that. But I'm super excited to be talking to all of you today. I'll go ahead and share my screen within a second, but then I just wanted to let you guys know that if any questions, feel free to put it on the chat and I'll make sure that this 30-minute session will be something that you'll remember and something that you'll take home at least one piece of actionable advice, which is what I love to see. So here we go. Awesome. I think you guys can see my screen. Yes? Awesome, perfect. So the topic for today, it's one of my favorite topics ever, which is getting into tech from a non-technical background. So just a little bit about myself. I became a CEO when I was 19, and I've been a CEO for 2 years now, also a career coach for 2 years. And I will be working at Google within their financial analyst program. So I'm super excited for that. And I think when I was approached by you guys, I was so excited about this topic because I love helping people who really want to break into tech, but may or may have not had the opportunity to have that technical background. And so I kind of will walk you guys through how did I make that possible and how did I kind of broke into tech without that technical background before. So just a little overview. These are some of the topics that I'll cover today and what helped me, and I'm pretty sure can help all of you get into your dream roles without necessarily the main skills that you think you should have, but probably not really, right? And that's a lot of misconceptions around like those areas that I want to clarify today to make sure you all get into your dream careers. So I was talking a little bit about professional branding, which I feel like so important nowadays, especially in this virtual world. And then I will talk about non-traditional strategies to land your dream role, which helped me personally, and I think like has helped a lot of my clients and mentees and students that I coach for the past 2 years. So I just want to quickly talk to you a little bit about my company. So as I said, I'm a proud women CEO. I became a CEO when I was 19, and I feel like I represent and I want to be a voice for a lot of women out there who may think that they don't have the necessarily skills to be a CEO or just to have their own business or just to be empowered. And I just feel like we are empowered and we can empower other people as well, right? So I just wanted to start by saying that like if you have a dream or a goal today, don't get discouraged by the fact that you may not have what it takes. You do. You have what it takes. You are valuable. You are enough. And I think like that's so important, such an important statement for everyone here. None of these companies that you're thinking of getting into are gonna get you in if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have confidence in yourself, and if you don't think that you have what it takes. I'm pretty sure they think you do. The only thing that might be stopping you from getting to that next step will be, do you really believe that you have what it takes? Because I feel like a lot of the times what happens is that when we walk into those rooms, into those events, into those interviews, we tend to forget that we do have what it takes. So I just wanted to start by saying that, which is why I started my own company in 2019, because I wanted to help college students and professionals to maximize their potentials and land their dream careers. When I was in my job search in college, I used to think like, oh my God, I don't know where to start. Where can I find this information? How can I make this better? And I said, you know what? I can be the change. Sometimes we see problems and we think, how can we be part of the change? How can we, help this problem become better? At the end of the day, you might be the change. And if you're walking into a company where you're the only one that looks like you, or if you're walking into a company where you're the only woman, guess what? You are changing that, and you're opening doors for a lot of other people to be walking into those rooms, into those meetings. So I just wanted to start by saying that, and I want to a lot of people and like pretty much everyone to believe that. And that's why I started that. And my mission, which is really close to my heart, it's I am to create an impact in the world, but that starts one person at a time. So if I can get out of this meeting, of this event today, and impact at least one person, my mission is accomplished. That is what I want to do. I want to make sure everyone in this event get the most out of it, and you can come out of this with confidence to say, I'm going to hit that apply button. and I'm going to apply for my dream company, and I'm going to get that offer, and that is it. Because this is not a option one, A and B. There's just a multiple choice. There's just one option, and that option is you're going to get that offer, and that's it. All right. So I wanted to quickly walk you guys through my background before getting into tech. I personally did a couple of internships at different firms. I have an accounting and finance background, as I said, so I do not have any tech or coding background. I've never actually, the only computer information system class that I took in college was mainly about Excel, VBA, and then I believe we touched briefly on Python, and that's about it. So I have no background in coding, and I still made it into Google, which is one of like the biggest tech companies. And I feel like this goes to show you that you really don't have to have a coding background for you to make it into these companies. But there is a lot that comes into place for that to happen. There's a lot of work, and I want to, for you guys to know, like, hard work would take you there, but you need to believe in that hard work in yourself. So I did a couple of internships, as I said, in finance and financial Wall Street, and from there in New York, I went into Google. So I personally have always wanted to work in tech because I love the people. I love the culture, and I love how everyone supports each other, at least in the culture that I've seen in the clubs, the organizations. It's so amazing to see everyone just kind of like being there for each other. It's just an industry that I love in general, right? And I really, really wanted to get in there. And me coming from a first generation college student, I just want to ask, is anyone here a first gen? You can put it on the chat if you're a first gen. Be proud of it. I am a first gen. I actually came from another country 5 years ago. And what I'm going to tell you guys will be very surprising, but I did not speak English when I came to the country 5 years ago. So I came when I was 17, and I did not speak a single word of English. The only thing I could say in English was hello, and I remember I could say my name, and that's about it. Never took any class in English, never took anything. So just imagine a 17-year-old teenager in a new country, not speaking the language and having to figure out how to apply for college, how to be accepted into college, how to go about networking, how to go about recruitment. Imagine, as a first gen, my parents didn't know anything about it, and I have to figure things out myself. But I said, you know what? In the future, I want to be that one person that will help people like me who are going through the same challenges. And that's why I set a max up. And I feel like when I take people like didn't speak English, or like how do you do it now? And the answer is, I do not stop learning. Every single day, I learn something new. I keep pushing myself. I go to this event, I go to workshops. Let me tell you guys, being on this conference, it's a milestone for me, because coming from a background of a girl who did not speak the language 5 years ago to be here speaking to all of you, that's a win for me. And I'm super honored to be talking to all of you today. So I just wanted to quickly tell you guys my story, because not only did I broke into tech from a non-technical background, but also as a first gen, also someone who's just learning the language, and it's just like, it really is about you believing in yourself and like going above and beyond your own expectations, not everyone else, not what your parents tell you, not what the society tells you, your own expectations. Because at the end of the day, you're the owner of your career, and you're the owner of your own journey. And that's how you have to go whenever you walk into those places. How many of you guys ever felt imposter syndrome before? I'm going to raise my hand. You guys can put me on the chat. So if you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's basically you're feeling insecure, and like you're walking into a school project and you're seeing your classmates, and then you're just like, oh, like they know more than me, like I'm gonna mess up everything, I don't know what I'm doing, right? I felt imposter syndrome a lot of times, even before walking into my interviews with these companies. But I had to change my mindset to understand that I can do it. And if I can do it, I can help others do it. So if all of you can do it, you can help your sisters, you can help your family, you can help your classmates to do it as well. So I just want to say, like, imposter syndrome is real, but it's as real as you let it to be. And that's important, right? So I just wanted to quickly go through you guys what helped me break into tech from a non-technical background. So the first thing was networking. So I want to know, everyone in the audience, feel free to chat with me on the chat like feature. I'm happy to see your messages. So if someone were to ask you, what is networking? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Like, say anything. If I were to ask you, like, what's networking? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Like, see if I can see the chat here. I do. Awesome. Connections, LinkedIn, friendship. Awesome. LinkedIn. Okay. Socialize. Okay. We're getting there. Instagram and LinkedIn. Okay. So I'll tell you guys exactly what networking is. When someone asked me 3 years ago what networking was, you guys want to know my answer? I said, is it networking like getting someone's business card? I honestly, I laugh still to this day because it was like, no, that's definitely not what networking is. And I'm pretty sure you guys have been taught before, like, oh, networking is getting someone's business card, like get their business card. But it's like, no, networking is so much more than that, right? So networking is really about building and maintaining relationships for an exchange of value. So the key here is exchange of value. So when I network with recruiters, I don't just go and tell them, like, here's my resume, hire me. I tell them, hey, I saw that you posted a job on your LinkedIn and I have a huge community. Would you mind if I share this opportunity with my community? I help. I give back, right? The fact that you're a student does not determine how much or how long should you help someone. There's this thing going around that, like, because you're a student, you have nothing to offer. That is just you looking for professionals or recruiters on LinkedIn or any other social media platform, and you have nothing to offer. That's not true. You have so much to offer. And I discovered that as I was going through that. Like, when I met with professionals, they would tell me, like, honestly, I appreciate you. You know why? Because you're taking me out of my 9 to 5 work where I do the same thing every day. And I'm just here listening to your stories and to what you have to say. Man or woman, you have made my day. I've heard that. I've heard about a lot of people. So why am I sharing this with you all? The reason why, it's because don't walk into those conversations thinking like you just have to get something. Give back to other people. So I'll tell you guys how to do that in the last slide on how you communicate and message recruiters and professionals, which is what I did to get that offer, right? So how does networking help me? Well, it can help everyone. Get a referral from your dream company. So if you guys have questions about how to go about getting a referral, feel free to ask at the end. Connect with someone for future projects, 100%. So whether it is that you guys want to go for software engineering or software development or web development or UX, UI, marketing, the list goes on, product management, data analytics, whatever it is within tech, you use networking to find other people who also want to go through that road. So a lot of you have always heard, like, people work on different projects, right? How do you go about creating those projects? Well, make sure that you connect with people on LinkedIn and you establish a relationship with other aspiring professionals, aspiring product managers, aspiring financial analysts, aspiring data analysts, right? So you basically meet with those individuals, right? And what you do is that you create projects that you can add to your resume. I did that. I remember I met a lot of people on LinkedIn, and basically what I did was that I put projects together with them so that when I walk into those interviews or on my resume, I could put those projects there. So just an example, like, say you want to break into UX UI, or you want to break into web development, but you have no technical background. You know what you do? You work with someone who might have that technical background and also want to break in there. You add your design perspective, they add their technical background, you together put together a project, and then you can put that on your resume. The project could be you want to develop a website, or you're working on the design of a product, let's say for electronic arts or any like e-game company. You can do that, and you can put that on your resume, and you can literally talk about that on your interviews. That's how you, if you, so for anyone who ever tell you like, I cannot get into my dream company because I have no experience. If you don't have experience, create your experience, create your opportunities. Don't let the fact that you don't have like professional experience hold you back from getting your goal. That's no longer an issue. You got the answer just now, right? The other thing is that you could also develop long-lasting relationships, and then you can get and provide mentorship. I've gotten so many mentors through networking. I think everyone here can get a mentor. A mentor is not just someone who is out there in that company. It could be some mentors as well, right? So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was professional branding. So I feel like it's so important. You guys mentioned when I talk about networking how important LinkedIn is. And I would tell you something. If you're on this room right now, you should be connecting with everyone that is on this audience right now. You should be sharing with each other your LinkedIn URL, and you should be connecting with them, because these are the people who might end up being your coworkers in the future. So you want to connect with them. And then the next thing is professional branding. Like, okay, so let me ask you as a question. What do you think, or what comes to mind when someone tells you professional brand? I'm sure you guys heard that a lot, like personal brand, professional brand, LinkedIn had others see you. What do you guys think like brand is? And I want to know, because I want to see what you guys think when someone tells you like, oh, you got to make sure your brand is clean, your brand is this, but what is your brand? What is the thing that you can guys put it on the chat? And image, perfect. Who you are, what you've done, what you have accomplished. Okay, perfect. So yeah, how we interact with the world. Exactly. Your brand is number one, what you portray to others, but also how others perceive you. It's both ways around, right? Because sometimes we're so focused into what we put out there, like, oh my God, I want to post on LinkedIn and I want to put this and that, but you got to make sure that what you're portraying is what people are getting, right? So why am I putting so much emphasis in brand? It's because these recruiters are watching you. If you're on LinkedIn, recruiters are watching you. And if you want to get into these big companies, your brand is one of the number one things you need to care of. Because I don't know if you guys know, but there's like about 75% of LinkedIn recruiters get their candidates through LinkedIn. So what does that mean? Is that 25 million profiles are being viewed on LinkedIn every single day. So you need to make sure that your profile is being viewed by recruiters. How do you get your profile to be viewed by recruiters? Well, what does your headline says? What keywords do you have? What picture do you have? All those things are being taken into consideration whether or not recruiter sees you on LinkedIn. You want to get to a point where they see you and it's not just you reaching out to them. That's the point you want to get. And for you to do that, this list right here. You can take a picture of it. It's been recorded. Make sure this list right here, you're following that, because that's the impression people get of you. And if you don't create a good or great first impression, it's really hard to try to make up for that impression. So make sure you follow these exact steps to increase your presence on LinkedIn and any other social media platform. So the next thing I want to talk about was some of non-traditional strategies that I use to land my dream role, and I think can help all of you. The first one, find the specific recruiters for your dream role on LinkedIn. You guys are probably done, like, how do you do that? Well, let's say you want to be a UX UI designer at your favorite company. You're going to go on LinkedIn and you're going to search UX UI recruiter, and you're going to filter by your favorite company. The recruiters that recruit for that role are going to show up. Those are the recruiters you need to connect with. A lot of times I hear from people saying, I send messages to recruiter, but they never reply. The question is, are you reaching out to the right recruiters? Right? Because a lot of recruiters are not active on LinkedIn. So you got to make sure you're recruiting and you're messaging the right people. The next thing is check their activity session to see whether or not they're active. If most likely, if they're not as active on LinkedIn, chances are you're probably not going to hear from them, and that's okay. move on to the next one, right? Don't get stuck because one recruiter didn't reply, right? The next thing, send a personalized invite. Like, don't attach your resume right away. I see a lot of people doing that. Like, you just send your resume to the recruiter and say, here's my resume, hire me. You shouldn't do that, right? The next thing is find out whether or not they're hiring by checking their career page. A lot of the times recruiters tell you how they want you to reach out to them. So before you actually reach out to them, have 2 to 3 roles that you really want to work at and mention that on your message. More focus the way they can respond to you. The next thing is schedule informational interviews and coffee chats, right? The point of being on LinkedIn and like just like getting into your dream role shouldn't just be about like you adding people on LinkedIn or just connecting with them once and that's it. Take them out of LinkedIn, going on Zoom, do coffee chats, learn what they do at their role with recruiters, learn about the job, how to be the best candidate, all those type of things. You do it on coffee chats. So you want to make sure you take the next step and do things above and beyond to what you were originally doing, right? So I already mentioned to you guys some of the facts with LinkedIn. This will be recorded as well if you guys want to go back and read about like the millions of people that are on LinkedIn every day. You should be part of that million if you're not on LinkedIn yet. And I want to know who here is active on LinkedIn. What I mean by active, you can just put me on the chat. What I mean by active is that you comment on people's posts, you send connection requests. Okay, I see some people saying, okay, for the people that are not active on LinkedIn, why are you not active on LinkedIn? What's stopping you? I want to know. Be honest, put it in the chat. It's okay, right? We're all here to learn. But as soon as you realize why you're not active on LinkedIn, that's the faster way to just get the solution and start being active, because that's what you should be doing. So I did a LinkedIn 101 guide with 12 pages long of how you should edit your profile on LinkedIn. Because if we go that, we could talk for 24 hours here. But I want to make sure you guys have your LinkedIn on point, especially in this virtual world. So make sure you guys go on my website. I'll put the link at the end for the resources page. Go over that and edit your LinkedIn as you go through that guide, because it's for free and you guys should really use it. That's what helped me get into these roles as well. So one of the last things that I wanted to talk about, which I feel like a lot of people struggle with, and I feel like that's what helped me specifically, coming from a non-technical background, I really needed to adjust the way I was expressing my projects and my experiences to how I could help a tech company. And so this is very important when you're messaging those people on LinkedIn. So some of the best practices are, make sure you personalize your connection requests. I put a message here on the screen for you guys to read it. There's some grammar mistakes. There's some things that are off there, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing your homework before sending those messages out. If you guys can see on the screen, what's wrong with this message? Just put it on the chat. What do you think is wrong? What could be better? What could we improve? And what you guys are doing that, I'll tell you something. Make sure you know how to pronounce, or at least make sure you don't have grammar mistakes on your message. Make sure you're using the right name or company. Do not just copy and paste the same message. And last but not least, you need to make sure you know your story. If you don't know your story, it'll be very hard for you to tell a recruiter from a tech company, I have what it takes to work at a tech company, although I don't have any technical background. You need to know your story and how to articulate a better way to say your experiences with your story. And I can talk to you guys more if you have questions about how to really articulate your story on the Q&A portion. But that is it for me now. I really enjoyed talking to you guys today. Thank you so much, DSC, for having me. And you guys can connect with me on LinkedIn by just scanning this QR code. I just leave it for like 5-10 seconds. You guys can just take your phones, scan this code, connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram as well. And I'm happy to chat more about any other questions that you guys may have. But thank you so much. And Ashley, I'll leave you guys with DSC now.